اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Especially our guest speaker this morning, Dr Norhasnida Zawawi from University Putra Malaysia, to IIUM student, staff, and I believe we also have been joined by friends and students outside this organization. Okay, I'm sorry if I cannot address you one by one, but welcome to today's webinar. We are very delighted to have you today to join us this morning. As the title goes, okay, today we have a webinar entitled Scientific Research, What's in It, Gen Alpha, because our aim, main audience today, we are targeting FYP student. I hope ada participant could find the webinar benefits as well to them. Let me take few minutes to introduce our guest speaker. Dr Norhasnida Zawawi is a senior lecturer at the Department of Food Science and Technology, Faculty of Food Science and Technology, University Putra Malaysia. She is also a researcher at Halal Science Laboratory, Institute of Halal Products Research at the same university. Why we are very grateful to have her with us this morning, because her research on the kelulut honey sugar profile, okay, has made a remarkable name for our beloved country Malaysia, especially in the field of scientific discovery. Together with her team, Queensland Alliance of Agriculture and Food Innovation, the University of Queensland, they have discovered trehalulose. Okay, maybe some of us never heard this term. It may sound alien to you to pronounce it. Okay, you can try with me. Okay, trehalulose. Okay, it's a rare sugar actually. I also first time when I read publication from Dr Hasnida work. It's a rare sugar in kelulut honey, but in kelulut honey, this trehalulose is the main sugar. It is not found in honey produced by other bees. Okay. This is a great novel discovery because it shows the uniqueness of kelulut honey, as well as it gives high potential commodity, high value of commodity to kelulut honey. This unique quality have rendered new international standard for kelulut honey. I think I have taken enough time, okay, with the introduction. Let the speaker herself, okay, explain to us further, okay, about this discovery. I hope you enjoy the webinar. فليتفضل مشكورا Dr. Norhasnida.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Adiba, for inviting me to this talk and to speak to students from IIUM. I'm excited to share with you about scientific research, especially because I thought that I think most of you are in the generation, the Alpha generation, right? You know what generation Alpha is? Those who are born after the year millennials are 2000, okay? So who are born on the year 2000 and after that, generation Alpha is generations that are born around the millennial era, okay? So what's in it for you? Why do you think that you want to do research? So Assalamualaikum and good morning to all of you. I hope you can benefit from my presentation today. It's just an informal sharing on
Doctor mute.
Oh, sorry, I've been talking for 2 minutes without anyone listening. Okay, thank you, Dr. Adiba. Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone, especially most of you I know are the student of IIUM, and you are the generation Alpha, right? Most of you are born 2000. and afterwards. Okay, so welcome and to this talk. It's not going to be really formal. I'm just going to be sharing with you what is scientific research, why is it important for you, and what are some of my scientific research in the area of my work. And saya tak ada orang baru depan sarapan ke tu? Okay, why you need to do research and all. Okay, so I'm very honored to be sharing with you this title on today, which is the 20th October, and not to forget the 22nd Rabiul Awal 1443 Hijrah. Okay, so before we start on what are the scientific research, okay, I want to ask you these two questions, something that you can think about. What are your hopes for the future? Okay, maybe take around 5 seconds to think about what are your hopes for the future. Okay, and the second question is, what will you do to pursue a meaningful life? Okay, let me translate to Bahasa Melayu. Your hopes for the future, what's your impian pada masa hadapan? Apa pula yang anda ingin lakukan untuk mendapat hidup yang bermakna, kehidupan yang bermakna? We have to think about these questions because Allah has says in the Quran, did you think that we had created you in play? It means without any purpose, playing without any purpose, and that you would not be brought back to us. So Allah himself asked us this question. You think that we're just creating you in play, that you would not be brought back to Allah? Okay, so there must be a reason for your existence in this world. Okay, you have to have a purpose. You have to pursue a meaningful life before, after that, we are taken back to Allah SWT. So I'm just sharing a little bit my learning journey. I'm not sure whether maybe some of you have went to these schools before, or maybe some of you are from the same matriculasi where I went. So basically my school background is near in Selangor, and I've went a few years, 2 years actually, in a school in the United States. And then my middle school would be in Kuala Lumpur and Negeri Sembilan. Okay, and then I went to matriculasi KYPM before going to UKM and pursue my master's in University Putra Malaysia and my PhD in the University of Nottingham. Standing next to me in the picture is my husband, who has always supported me in throughout my education in master's and PhD. Okay, so we get married after our bachelor degree. Okay, so now let's look at the scientific research. Is it good or bad? Is scientific research good or is it bad? You may have heard people telling you that science is not related to Islam. So when you learn science, or you're learning about technology, you are different. You're not people who are learning about Islam. Is that right? Okay. So I'm going to share with you this video to further entice you to think, okay, about whether science is good or bad. So I'm going to this actually a video in this slide. Yeah, okay, right. Can you see in full? Can you hear the sound, Adiba? Adiba, can you hear the sound?
Yes, we
Okay. Okay, good.
Excuse me, doctor. I think I can see the slide.
Sorry?
I can see the slide, but I hear the sound.
You can hear the sound?
But I can't see the video and the slide.
Oh, you cannot see the video?
Yep.
Anybody else have a problem with that?
Yes.
Same.
I'm also having the same problem.
So you only hear the sound but not the video?
Yeah, and we cannot see the slide that you present just now.
Oh, you cannot see the slide that I've shown just now
Yeah.
from the start.
Tak semua. I think saya boleh. Kenapa ya?
Oh, okay. Ada anybody else ramai ke yang ada masalah macam tu?
Saya okey.
Okay, so if some of you
Maybe setting of the organizer part kot. Setting organizer Microsoft Team tu nak kena tengok balik.
Okay, so I think kalau orang lain ada yang okay, so maksudnya yang tak boleh tu, maybe you can find some way to solve the problem. Maybe there's a setting that you should change. Okay, so saya continue boleh? Boleh saya continue ke? Macam mana Dr. Adiba?
Okay. Kalau setting saya dah buat everyone. Semua orang boleh tengok, boleh kalau dekat setting saya ni. Saya tak limit pada people in organisation je. Patutnya semua orang have access lah.
Okay, so boleh saya continue ke?
Silakan doktor.
Okay, so saya share.
Everybody loves fireworks. The lights, the colors, and of course, the big boom. But the history of fireworks isn't all hugs and celebrations. Long before epic fireworks displays, chemists in China invented the key ingredient that propels those bright lights into the sky. That invention was what we now call gunpowder. Our story begins back in ancient China in the mid-9th century, where early Chinese alchemists were trying to create a potion for immortality. Instead, what they created was a flammable powder that burned down many of their homes. They quickly realized that this black powder, which they called fire medicine, was precisely the opposite of something that would make you live forever. In these early days, the Chinese hadn't yet figured out how to make the powder explode. It was simply very flammable, and their armies used it to make flaming arrows and even a flamethrower. But once they figured out the right proportions of ingredients to create a blast, they began using the powder even more, creating fireworks to keep evil spirits away and bombs to defend themselves against Mongol invaders. It was these Mongols, most likely, who spread the invention of gunpowder across the world. After fielding Chinese attacks, they learned how to produce the powder themselves and brought it with them on their conquests in Persia and India. William of Rubruck, a European ambassador to the Mongols, was likely responsible for bringing gunpowder back to Europe around 1254. From there, engineers and military inventors created all kinds of destructive weapons. From bombs to guns to cannons, gunpowder left its mark on the world in some pretty terrible ways, in contrast to the beautiful marks it can leave in the air. So how does black powder propel fireworks into the sky? You might have seen old westerns or cartoons where a trail of gunpowder is lit and it leads to a large and obviously explosive barrel. Once the fire gets to the barrel, a large boom occurs. But why doesn't the trail itself explode? The reason is that burning the powder releases energy and gases. While the trail is burning, these are easily released into the surrounding air. But when the gunpowder is contained within the barrel, the energy and gases cannot easily escape and build up until, boom. Firework canisters provide a single upward-facing outlet to channel this explosive energy. The wick ignites the gunpowder, and the energy takes the easiest exit from the canister, launching the firework high into the sky. The flame then makes its way through the fireworks encasing, and the same reaction occurs high above our heads. So while the Chinese alchemists never found a compound for eternal life, they did find something that would go on to shape all of civilization, something that has caused many tragic moments in human history, and yet still gives us hope when we look up in celebration at the colorful night sky.
Okay. So video tadi was a story of the video actually just now a story of invention of gunpowder. Okay, I'm sure many of you likes to see fireworks. Okay, pernah nampak kan fireworks? Okay, yang ada selalunya waktu malam hari perayaan. So these are actually the result or the invention of gunpowder. But gunpowder, okay. So the good things about gunpowder invention is that it can give you fireworks, okay, which is can be used for entertainment, okay, and for the Chinese, okay, who are Buddhists, okay, they believe that this can ward off evil spirit. It can be used for hunting food. So by using, of course, weapons, okay, guns that can be used for hunting, okay, and also can be used as defense, for protecting the country, for example. Okay. However, there's the other side of gunpowder invention that we can see as a bad effects. Okay, so whether it's being used to as weapon to destroy innocent lives, or people can use it to destroy properties, or people can use it to destroy nature, okay, by building bombs, for example. So is the invention of gunpowder good or bad? Okay, so basically this is actually depends on the intention of the invention, and also for the use of the intention towards the use of the invention. So the first reason why the Chinese study and also invent this gunpowder is so to produce a potion to have an eternal life. This is why it's a contradict to the end use of the gunpowder today. Okay, because they discovered that you're not going to live eternally, okay, by eating gunpowder. So the intention is maybe for health. Okay, so the invention for gunpowder is actually to increase a person's health. Okay, but it ends up being used for bad purposes. Okay, so when we look into that, okay, so the purpose or the intention of the invention is very important in Islam. Okay, intention, niat also is very important. Okay, as stated in hadith by Bukhari and Muslim, which is also the first hadith in the book of 40 hadith by Imam Nawawi. I'm sure some of you have heard of this hadith before. He narrated on the authority of Amirul Mu'minin, leader of the believers, Abu Hafs, Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I heard the messenger of Allah, peace upon him, say, actions are according to intentions, and everyone will get what was intended. Whoever migrates with an intention for Allah and His Messenger, the migration will be for the sake of Allah and His Messenger. And whoever migrates for worldly gain or to marry a woman, then his migration will be for the sake of whatever he migrated for. Okay, so migration, this is hijrah. So when in the first line, I told you about, I've shared with you the date for today. Okay, yeah, in hijrah. So hijrah is actually a very important part part of history in Islam, and it's very hard to do. Okay, so similarly, if we are to conduct scientific research, it's not easy. Okay, scientific research requires years. Okay, maybe some people take a few years, some people takes more than maybe 20 years, okay, to get an outcome for a research. So it's not easy, but it has to have the right intention from the start. Okay, because if you have a good intention, then even though you die before you complete your research work, okay, inshallah Allah will give you will get the good reward for what you work for. Okay, so intention for the invention is very important. So in Islam, okay, we have this what we call as maqasid Sharia. So maqasid Sharia is a purpose, a meaning, and reasons in the laws that have been set in the Islamic Sharia for achieving meaningful life. So this is also go back to the first question when I asked you, okay, what would you like to pursue in your life to achieve a meaningful life? So actually this is already is an important question in Islam. Okay, so Islam wants us to have a meaningful life. So we have this maqasid Sharia, which protects, okay, all the important things in our lives. So the three core principles of the maqasid Sharia is to protect the stability and goodness in human lives. Okay, so it has to also be tolerant and fair. It also has to have a continuous improvement. It will support the continuous improvement of all aspects of individual lives, society, and culture. So this is the three core principles of Maqasid Sharia. Okay, and the 5 focus area of the Maqasid Sharia is the protection of religion, protection of life, protection of intellect, protection of lineage, protection of properties. Okay, so these are all of the protection that is being covered in the 5 focus area of the Maqasid Sharia. If you want to know more of this, I'm sure there are other lecturers in IIUM that you can refer to who are experts in this area, and you can learn about it. And we need to learn about it actually, okay, as Muslims, because this is actually what is important, the focus that we also need to relate to the research work that we're going to do. So other than Islamic Maqasid Sharia, okay, the United Nations have set 17 goals to transform the world. Okay, so this is a 2030 agenda. Okay, so how old are you going to be in 2030? That's in 10 years. Okay, so add to your age now, at 10. So that's how you're going to be, how old you're going to be in 2030. Okay, so the UN Sustainable Development Goals have been divided into 17. Okay, so the agenda is to achieve, number 1, no poverty. Number 2, zero hunger. Number 3, the good health and well-being. Number 4, quality education. Number 5, gender equality. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Okay, number 7, affordable and clean energy. Number 8, decent work and economic growth. Number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduce inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water, means to protect life below water. 15, protection of life on land. And 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17, partnerships for the goal. So if you look at generally here, okay, the 17 goals, they related to the 5 Maqasid Sharia principles. Anybody wants to volunteer and answer? Are these sustainable development goals related to what we want to achieve in Maqasid Sharia?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Any other, thank you. Siapa? Norhasnida?
Saya.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Norhasnida. Anybody else wants to answer a differently ke? Ada different answer? Okay.
Stay the same, madam. Yes, it's related.
It's related. Okay, all right. Okay, so if you look at, this is a publication by Ati Rohati Daria, You can read the paper in Social and Behavioral Science journal. So where she separate the 17 goals into means and the ends. Means means that the tools that is used to achieve the ends or the goal. Okay, so she separate the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals into these two groups. So you can see that the targets or the end mean, okay, are no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, and reduced inequalities to achieve well-being of people, which is actually one of the component of the maqasid. Okay. However, does it covers all of the maqasid Sharia? Okay, so your answer just now is right, that is related to maqasid Sharia, but does it covers all of the maqasid Sharia? Anybody wants to try and answer the question? Here we have 5 before this, right? The maqasid Sharia principle. So do you think it covers all of them? Are there anything missing? Ya, siapa nak try? Saya tak boleh bagi hadiah online. Kalau kat kelas boleh bagi hadiah. Ada siapa nak cuba? Ada tak apa-apa yang tertinggal daripada 5 principle of maqasid syariah?
I think saving the religion is not mentioned.
Saya tak apa dengar, boleh kuat lagi. Siapa tu? Siapa yang jawab tadi? Sorry, saya tak apa jelas. Ada nak cuba lagi?
Maybe yang preservations of faith tu tak nampak sangat kot. Bahagian faith.
Okay. To protect the religion kan, the faith. Okay. Okay, so maybe we don't really see anywhere here. Okay, maybe some of it are covered in the peace and justice and strong institution, which means the law, so Islamic law. Maybe some of it is covered there, but you're right. So that we cannot really see protection of a religion or faith in here. Okay, but what's more that we don't see at all is the protection of lineage. Okay, so keturunan, protection of lineage is actually one of the important principle of maqasid Sharia that's not mentioned anywhere in the UN Sustainable Goals. So we can say that it's not really complete. Okay, the UN Sustainable Goal is good. It has all the means. I mean, the goals are good to achieve the well-being of people. However, for us Muslims, we think that it's not complete. So maybe there are research that we need to focus on to focus on the protection of lineage. For example, issues like susu ibu. Some mothers cannot breastfeed the milk, so we cannot just use do the bank susu ibu, the breast milk bank, because we know that in Islam, okay, that there are consequences of drinking a person's of sharing breast milk, because they can be related. The daughter, the baby can be related to the person after they consume the breast milk. So this is an area of research that we need to embark on as Muslims, because it's not covered in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my stingless bihani research, which started in the year 2016. So it's around 5 years now I've been in this research. And if you haven't seen a stingless bee before, this is a picture that I captured. Okay, one of the pictures that I captured of stingless bee, the Heterotigona itama, and there's pollen on the feet, yellow one, the yellow colored ball is actually a pollen that they took from the flowers. They're very small, okay, and smaller than the normal apis mellifera bee, the European honeybee, lebah biasa tu. So that around 2 times smaller, 2 to 3 times smaller than the normal honeybee. Okay. So this is some of the research background because most of you are final year student, right? Okay, so when I was in UKM, my research thesis was on the analysis of chemistry in the in English tak ingat. Okay, Garcinia mangostana seed. Okay, and then similarly in masters, I continue to do studies on natural products, okay, on the ascrispus leaves, and continue with that research in the for my PhD. Okay, so I did not do a study on stingless bee honey when during my graduate years. Okay, so it's actually after my graduate years. But still, my research interest is in food and natural products. Okay, and also the effects on health. So these are some of the research grants that I've obtained. Okay, basically also related to food, nutrition, and also effects on health. Okay, so on kenaf seed flour and kenaf, and also on stingless bee honey and Strobilanthus crispus extracts. These are all, some of them has been completed. Okay, the kenaf protein derived from fruit product from kenaf seed milk is nearly complete. And I have these 2 research, actually big research that are going on right now. Okay, the 2 research that is related to stingless bee honey, okay, is the nutraceutical properties and probiotic potential of stingless bee honey for establishment against oxidative stress, disease macam for example diabetes, cardiovascular disease. So that's all related to oxidative stress. Okay, so this was done by the help of Ministry of Higher Education, where I got the grant earlier. It's completed last year, and for this year, my research is continue on the trehalulose sugar in stingless bee honey. Right? Okay, so in Malaysia, okay, so this is a research background in 2016 where I collaborate with small and medium industry. Okay, so beekeepers, farmers, small, some of them have small farms, some of them have bigger farms throughout Peninsula Malaysia. We went to Johor, Kedah, around Selangor, Melaka actually, I didn't put here. So I missed Melaka. So Melaka actually ada, and also Negeri Sembilan. Okay, so Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, Johor, Kedah, Selangor. And we have also have 1 sample from Sarawak. So I think overall around 10 kelulut bee farms that we are currently working with, where we visited the farm and collect the samples, and also ask the beekeepers what are the problems, okay, related to beekeeping and also honey quality production. So in 2018, I went to the University of Queensland to work with the team of honey researchers there. So they're not exactly doing research on stingless bee honey. They were just doing research on honey because honey is a commodity in Australia. So the research of in honey is very important in Australia. So this research group that I work with is Queensland Alliance of Agriculture and Food Innovation in Coopers Plain. And there I also meet some of the local beekeepers in Brisbane. So this example here, these 2 couples, Bob and Barbara, actually had showed me their their honey collection process. Okay, and also Bob is an innovator. Okay, and on the left is the colleague that I'm currently working with. Okay, Professor Mary Fletcher and also Dr. Natasha Hungerford. Okay, so let me just share to you how the progress to trehalulose discovery takes place. Okay, so first, before the discovery, there are many problems associated to stainless steel honey industry. One of them is the price of the reduction of the price, and people are not buying because they don't know the quality of the stainless steel honey, and because it's hard to introduce a new product to consumers. Okay, when they have been used to eating the sweet honey, whereas kelulut honey tastes a little bit sweet and sour, so it's not really just sweet taste. Okay, so the taste is a little bit different. So this is a identification of research problem that when we went, not just in the news, we also went and meet the beekeepers and ask them the problems that they have with with selling their honeys. And there's also an issue of adulteration. Okay, people are selling honeys that they added with sugars. So that's also one of the research problem in that we have identified. Based on scientific journal review also, I've discovered some peculiar or something that is I see as yeah, it's peculiar, something pelik. When we look at the sugar profile of the stainless steel honey. So if you look in this slide that I've shown you, sorry, this one. All right, okay, so you can see in there are different composition here of the sugar profile in the kelulut honey. So can you see any that can you detect the peculiar things? What do you find peculiar in this graph? Can you detect the strange things happening?
Which one yang kelulut, Doktor?
Yes.
Which one yang kelulut?
All of them are kelulut.
All of them are kelulut. Okay.
Yeah, all of them are kelulut. They're just different samples. So the graph shows you the different amount of the sugar. Can you see what's the peculiar things about the amount of sugar here? I mean the profile of sugar. I just want to see if anybody can detect. What are the strange thing happening here?
Takut dia nak jawab, takut salah.
Tak apa, salah pun tak apa. That's what scientists do, you know.
Well, I see that both of them memang below 80 itulah, yang 80, the 80 mark. Okay, so every sample is below 80. Okay, I think that's good. Maknanya consistency kan. Cuma yang atas tu ada warna merah tu.
Okay.
Okay. Lepas tu tapi yang banyak is the pink one kan, untuk
okay. So do you think pelik ke pink tu?
Apa dia yang pink tu pelik?
You rasa pelik ke pink tu?
Itulah tak tahu apa yang peculiar. Ada yang peculiar ke? Ada tak apalah. Saya tunggu jawapan doktor lah.
Okay, betul lah tu. I mean your answer is correct. So that's what we do as scientists, and when we read literature review or even when we hear news, when you think about them and really look at it closely, you can find things that you find peculiar and you say, oh, that's interesting and I want to know more. Okay, so the red colored in the graph, the red color in the graph shows the sucrose content. Okay, sucrose is the disaccharide, gula macam gula kita makan, itulah yang buat daripada gula tebu tu. So that is sucrose. So sucrose memang should be low lah in honey. And if you look at most of them does not contain sucrose. Tak ada sikit dia ada sucrose. Okay, so that's something we can detect in these samples. Another is the pink color, which is labeled as maltose. So if you read many literatures on honey, if you look at all the review on honey content, okay, this is actually something peculiar because honey, especially Apis honey, would not contain that high amount of maltose. Okay, so most of the sugars in honeybee honey are just fructose and glucose. So high amount of maltose in these samples is something peculiar, something weird is happening on. And I don't know why they're not being explained in this literature review. In this journal, it's not being discussed as something weird. And also they did not show how they determine the maltose components. Okay, so as scientists, we want to investigate more. Why does stingless bee honey contains high amount of maltose? Because that is weird. Because honey contains usually just fructose and glucose. Okay, so to answer the question, okay, in with the team, actually it takes a long time, but I'm just, because this is, I have only short time to share with you. So so to cut it short, we have isolated the maltose part, okay, from the stingless bee honey, what we think as maltose, because it's being reported as maltose. So we then analyze the isolated sugar in using NMR technology. So we can see here, if you look at this figure, okay, we know that all the species, okay, we look at the top, A first. So this sugar that was reported as maltose, okay, was found in all of the honey samples of 5 different species. So these 5 different species are actually stingless bee honey from Brazil. Tetragonisca angustula is from Brazil. Geniotrigona thoracica and Heterotrigona itama is Malaysian stingless bee honey. Tetragonella carbonaria and Tetragonella hawkinsi are the Australian stingless bee honey. So they all have the exact similar, actually all similar retention time. Okay, so if you don't know NMR or HPLC, so similar retention times means that they are would have been an identical sugar. Okay, so because it's the exact time. Okay, so when we compare it with sucrose and also maltose standards, okay, so you can see in the black the sucrose and maltose standard. And also palatinose, which is another type of sugar that may be related closer to the sugar. So we see that their retention time is different than the trehalulose. So we bought another trehalulose standard, even though it's not pure. So we see that the retention time is different. Okay, so we have then proof that actually the sugar that was reported as maltose in stingless bee honey was not actually maltose. So it's actually trehalulose sugar. So this study, because the amount, as you see earlier in the graph, and it's very high in stingless bee honey, and we even have tested in our samples around 36 samples, and we found that all of the sample contains trehalulose. Okay. So this discovery was reported in a scientific report. We have a journal paper that you can find if you want to read more, and has also been reported in news in Australia, Malaysia, and around the world. So if you look at this is the structure, okay, of maltose is number 1, okay, and number 2 is isomaltulose palatinose, and the 3 is actually sorry, number 1 is actually is the trehalulose. So there are tautomers and 2 different structure, okay, and the 2 is isomaltulose and 3 is palatinose. Okay, so the structure, okay, is actually different than isomaltulose and also maltose, and it's actually has reported to have a low glycemic index value of 32. Okay, so low glycemic index value means that it will not increase your blood sugar level, okay, to too high. Okay, so the sweetness of the trehalulose sugar is only 70% as sweet as sucrose. So that's why kelulut honey, okay, is not really sweet. That's why it's more acidic taste. Okay, this is because the trehalulose, when it's high in the honey, it does not give, it's not as sweet as sugar. So it will be less sweet than sugar. Okay, so this is why we have to educate the public. Okay, because people do not know why kelulut honey is sweet, sour, have a sour taste and not really sweet. Okay, this is because of the trehalulose sugar in the honey. Okay, so they are also not readily crystallized. So if you can look at here, okay, there are different, these are all the sucrose isomers, okay, and all actually have lower glycemic index than sucrose. Okay, but only trehalulose, okay, is found naturally. Okay, even isomaltulose is being made synthetically. Trehalulose is found naturally in high amount in Semisbi honey. Okay, so subhanallah, so that is actually something where we when we discovered we seek we when we have I found that about trehalulose in high amount in this Semisbi, I feel that, you know, this is Allah want to show his that he can create anything in this world. Okay, so that we know that this is a something that has not been found naturally in high amount before. So the isomaltulose, which has been produced synthetically, okay, well, is actually being used, okay, to prevent diabetes. Because if you look at here, okay, so if you eat isomaltulose, this is a sugar, normal sucrose content, so it will increase your blood sugar and then reduce it. Okay, it will become very low after certain time. But when you consume isomaltulose, okay, your blood sugar level will not go up too high and will be released slowly in your blood. So this is actually an important, very useful for prevention of diabetes. Other applications, okay, other than the low glycemic potential, is that it can also improve the body weight, okay, and also it has been known to be akerogenic. It doesn't cause caries. Right, so I'm going to share with you what are the teamwork and collaborations that we have, because it's also very important when doing scientific research that we work together as a team. Okay, you don't want to just do things by yourself, because it's not going to go big. Okay, so I heard some people say before, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. Okay, so by going together, collaborating, team working in teams, you will go further, okay, than just going alone. Okay, so this is a stainless bee honey research at UPM. Okay, on the top there, we first work among ourselves and UPM with different faculties. Here we have researchers from engineering, from veterinary, from agriculture, from the Department of Medicine and Health Sciences. Okay, and myself from Faculty of Food Science and Technology. And after that, we expand our work together with MARDI, the Malaysian Research and Development Institute, and also with the University of Queensland. I still am working together with them, where we have obtained our International Collaboration Fund until 2023 to study the effect of isomaltulose, but in trehalulose, but using trehalulose, because nobody has done it yet. Okay, so working together, we can go further. Right, so the in 2019, okay, also there's actually a plan, okay, for the kelulut industry, national kelulut industry, okay, and it's still going on today. So the plan of the work that our research work is also to collaborate with the Ministry of Agriculture. And maybe in IIUM, if is interested, we can also work together on some of the research areas as well, right? And possibly we can achieve the target so that kelulut research can be one of Malaysia's leading commodity. Okay, because I haven't introduced you, I haven't told you earlier, but if you read on the area where stainless bee honey can be found, it is mostly just in tropical countries. Okay, so kelulut bees cannot be found in the northern hemisphere or in the southern, more southern hemisphere. They only lives in the around the equator. So countries like northern Australia, Queensland, Indonesia, Filipina, Thailand. There's some also in Vietnam, researchers there, Brazil, Argentina. Okay, even in some countries in Africa are also now, okay, are also doing research in stainless bee honey to increase the to apply as the commodity in their country as well. But interestingly, in Malaysia, okay, our species of honeybee, our species of stainless bee honey, which is the Thoracica, okay, and the Itama, is actually one of the two of the species that produce high amount of honey, okay, compared to species from other countries. Okay, so that's why we have the potential, okay, to do further research and market this stainless bee honey as the main commodity for Malaysia. So what's in it for Gen Alpha? Just 5 minutes left for me. So what's in it for you? What do you want to do? Maybe not stainless bee honey research. Maybe it's not your interest. So what do you want to do? Okay, so just remember that in order to protect the maqasid Sharia, okay, you can do many types of research related to these 5 focus areas. Okay, and also to align it with the 17 goals of sustainable development goals. Okay, other than that, it can also be your research interests, research that are available in your university that you can do. Okay, but basically it's back to what are the societal problems that you want to solve. Okay, so if you have if you can log into menti.com, okay, you can answer this question and we can see. Okay, I can share it with you here. What the answers of that you put. So can you go to menti.com, www.menti.com, and then just key in the code 48912809. Okay, and then just give the answer to this question, just short answer. Okay, it's not going to display your name. You don't need to write your name or anything. Okay, it's just to see, okay, what are the areas or what are your research interests. Okay, so can you go now? I'm going to share the menti.com so that everyone can see. Okay. Right. So I'll show you the okay, let me see. Okay, desktop. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the Mentimeter. Okay, so one of you have answered here, poverty. Anybody else want to answer? Apa dah hilang? Okay, sensor for fake honey. Okay, that's interesting. You boleh nampak kan ni kan yang saya share ni?
Boleh.
Dr. Diba boleh nampak okay.
Nampak Dr. Noy.
Okay, ada lagi? Okay, poverty, sensor for fake honey, ada lagi yang research lain yang you are interested in? Okay, tak ada dah, 2 je. Tak keluar nama pun, tak nak share. Dia tak ada, patutnya update live ni. So ada 2 orang je masuk
Dia orang confuse kot.
Okay, so tak apalah. Saya go back tadi Okay, so saya dah stop share tadi kan? Ada nampak lagi ke? Saya dah stop share tadi kan? Nampak lagi ke my desktop?
Tak ada dah Dr. Noh.
Tak ada dah kan? Okay, sekejap Oh tadi yang file saya tadi dah hilang terus Okay, hilang terus Okay, tak biasa dengan Teams ni. What is this? Okay, cancel. Dia kata file exist. Macam nak buka file tadi Open share 3. Browse. Teams and channels. Tak ada training macam mana nak buka yang saya dah share tadi. Dia tak keluar pula.
Kalau Dr. stop sharing, lepas tu share balik, boleh ke?
Okay. Saya dah stop share kan? Ada lagi?
Tak ada. Kat kita tak keluar. Takut dekat doktor, dekat komputer doktor ada lagi dah. Tak, kalau share baru, doktor share saja boleh ke?
Itulah saya nak upload tapi dia kata dah ada.
Dah ada.
Okay, Chrome tab. Chrome tab dia keluar Chrome je. Okay.
Doktor buka window
ni dekat apa? Yang okey tak apalah, saya upload je lah yang tadi. Sebab saya tak tahu dia save kat mana tadi. Okey. Kena take time balik lah Okay, so tapi sebenarnya dah tak actually in the end tadi saya nak ni lah, so just discuss on what are the research that interesting to do, okay, so that we can see that whether it's going to benefit the society or not. Okay, so I'm sure you all have your some research ideas that you want to do. Okay, so if you don't, you can discuss with Dr. Adiba, okay, and other lecturers. Okay, so if you want to, I'm just going to share here that if you want to update, if you like my lecture on Sinus Bihani, okay, I also update my research work, okay, in this Facebook page, okay, www.facebook.com/Nida Research. Okay, so you can find the information there if you want to have an update on the research area. Okay, so that's all. I hope that you have benefited from this lecture. Okay, and I pass it back to Dr. Adiba. Okay, thank you.
Jazakillah khairan katsira to Dr. Norhasnida for a very comprehensive, beneficial sharing just now. Doctor, can we allow some time for Q&A to take some question?
Yes, okay.
I open the floor. Anybody you want to ask anything? Nak tanya harga madu kelulut ke?
Saya tak jual pun.
Adakah yang commercialize, yang research Dr. Hasnida? Ada
Saya belum lagi sebab saya sekarang ni tengah our research ni going to, kita nak isolate trehalulose tu lah as standard, as analytical standard. Saya tak jual madu lah, memang my research work is not to produce honey, okay, just to analysis on honey nutritional content je.
Tapi kalau kita beli yang orang duk jual kat botol-botol tu kan, tu tak ada masalah, nak boleh je.
One of the thing that we as a team lah kita nak propose is to have for that stainless bihani ni dia ada food label. Okay, and then ada governing bodies lah yang akan approve kan, macam halal kan, macam halal punya body chop tu. So kita harap untuk honey juga nanti akan ada similar. governing bodies lah, sama ada JAKIM ke ataupun maybe Institut Halal UPM pun akan buat ke, kita tak sure lagi lah, tapi kita harap something like that so that consumer nanti safer lah, can buy safe honey, quality honey lah. So it has to be standardized lah sebenarnya kan.
Betul. Okey.
Kalau saya boleh mencilah, kalau Dr Norhasnida atau sesiapa yang hadir yang berminat nak beli madu, UIA ada jual daripada ladang kelulut kita madu.
Okay.
Madu
memang kita kenal dia punya maksudnya orang yang keluarkan tu, then it's also good lah, trusted seller lah.
Kita harvest. Some of the student yang hadir hari ni pun mereka terlibat bantu kita harvesting bottling.
Ada banyak sekarang kat sana?
Taklah banyak, 12 je, kita taklah untuk assist research kita sebab kita develop mesin penyejat untuk kurangkan water content tu kan tu.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's what you should pursue lah for engineering punya research kan.
Yes, that's true. Sebab tu kita perlu banyak sampel madu sebab proses nak check the content. Jadi majukanlah, boleh contact kita di lain.
Boleh. Kita boleh collaborate lagi lah.
Boleh dapat special price kalau PM saya personal.
Okay.
Okey, tepi.
Boleh insyaAllah.
Silakan kalau ada soalan lain. Okey, ada orang angkat tangan. Dipersilakan. Nama siapa yang angkat tangan? Boleh tanya. Mazarul. Silakan.
Silakan.
Silakan tuan. Tuan Mazarul.
Boleh unmute mic ke?
Kita tak dengar suara tuan. Minta maaf Tuan Mazarul, kita tak dengar.
Sorry, apa dia? Tak dengar soalan.
Tuan, boleh tolong ulang ke? Kita tak dengar.
Saya pun tak dengar.
Ini antara cabaran online buat aktiviti online ni. Tuan Mazarul.
Kan boleh type ke? Ni boleh buka chat kan?
Boleh. Kalau tuan chat, tuan tulis boleh. Mungkin ada masalah kot, nampak kamera dia pun sekejap ke baju, sekejap ke dinding.
Okey, Doktor Diba.
Ya, dengar.
Okey, sementara tunggu problem tu solve, saya nak tanya yang doktor study ni untuk spesies Itama dan Thoracea ataupun Itama saja?
Dua-dua, Itama dengan Thoracea.
Okay, how about other species like Tetrigona ke? Contohnya Tetrigona apicalis ke, bigami ke, melanoluca ke?
Setakat ni saya belum lagi tapi bolehlah kalau memang department di Kulliyyah Engineering ni berminat, boleh kita boleh go into that study lah insyaAllah.
Okey doktor, sebenarnya nama saya saya perkenalkan diri saya saya Saiful Sam Hassan lah, daripada saya penternak bebas lah. Dulu saya bekerja dengan Sirim Berhad lah.
Okay.
Jadi at the same time kita dah produce untuk ceramic hive lah.
Oh, okay.
Because one of the punya masalah utama kelulut ni ialah lock report kan. Jadi we are using porcelain lah, tapi kalau because lagi satu we trust that kalau pakai kayu dia bila madu tumpah dia lebih mudah bercendawan kalau compared to ceramic.
Okay.
Jadi kalau doktor berminat dengan dama, saya because tak boleh nak chat dalam ni, saya dah try dah. Because saya memang ternak spesies dama.
Okay. Boleh contact saya, dia tulis dekat ni Facebook page ni, boleh tulis kat situ.
Boleh.
Ada bahagian message tu nanti kan.
Boleh, nanti saya masuk Facebook.
Saya akan reply nanti kat situ insyaAllah.
Pasal dekat sini kita, although kita, I thought previously Farma Niaga pun dia ada data on spesies ni. Jadi salah satu spesies yang kita looking forward untuk yang saya memang buat bisnes sekarang pun jual madu pun dari spesies dama lah. Okey doktor, saya akan masuk dan saya akan write down lah nanti.
Okey.
Ya,
Boleh.
doktor.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih Tuan Saiful. Spesies dama sebenarnya susah nak ternak sebab dia ada pokok-pokok tertentu je, kena pokok-pokok hutan, meranti. Jadi kalau lokasi bukan dekat dengan hutan susah. Jadi bagus usaha Tuan Saiful tu. Sebab nanti produk Tuan Saiful tu premium lah sebab dia buat madu daripada spesies yang bukan commonly breeding lah. Dia akan jadi produk tu premium.
Betul.
Harga pun boleh ni lah tambah
naik lagi lah.
Naik lagi tambah kalau Dr Norhasnida kan boleh proof pula ada berapa ke lagi kan.
Betul Dr. Adiba. Doktor, kita punya ada 3 rasa. Kalau dia bergantung pada musim bunga, sama ada nenas, duku ataupun pandan. Sekarang rasa pandan.
Okey. Menarik
It's a very interesting lah actually. Satu yang luar biasa lah bagi kita. Okey, doktor.
Okey, semoga berjaya Cik Saiful insya-Allah.
Terima kasih. Okey. Pasal saya pun baru berhenti daripada sirim pasal ternak kelulut.
Wah.
Okey, terima kasih.
Ada potensi lah untuk ni kan, yang pelajar-pelajar pada projek ni nanti pelajar-pelajar IIUM ni insya-Allah. Boleh lah.
InsyaAllah tak ada masalah. Okey, Assalamualaikum.
Kita alu-alukan kalau ada soalan lain nak perbincangan. Kalau tak tanya pun mungkin nak bagi nak berbincang. Ada lagi? Silakan. Bukan mudah ni dapat Dr Norhasnida bersama kita ni. Ada lagi ke? Ambil peluang nak tanya Dr Norhasnida.
Tadi saya just nak tanya lah macam on behalf of student yang tengah 4th year semua ni kan, macam mana doktor boleh come out dengan idea nak venture into madu kelulut tu? Maknanya macam tiba-tiba terasa madu tu macam kenapa dia tak manis macam tu ke atau macam mana? I think that's what student macam fikir macam mana dia boleh tahu nak venture into this? Macam itulah. Kadang-kadang saya pun terfikir saya nak buat research apa ya macam itulah kan. So apa pendapat kita? Boleh bagi input wah.
Good question. Antara sebab mula-mula saya terlibat ni pun ada seorang lagi profesor sebenarnya yang arwahlah, dia dah baru meninggal awal tahun ni, Profesor Mazna Ismail. Dia lah yang sebenarnya ajak saya untuk terlibat dengan research ni. Dan kita macam saya kat awal tadi, kita memang industri yang panggil. So memang masa tu ada satu maksudnya daripada ladang kelulut lah di Segamat tu, jauh lah daripada UPM actually. Sejam lebih kita drive sebab dia panggil lah untuk kita bincang macam mana sebab dia tahu kita ni is a research group yang memang study natural products lah, maksudnya apa-apa bahan kimia daripada yang natural kan, daripada makanan, dan nak kaji kesan dia terhadap kesihatan. Jadi asalnya memang dapat invitation lah daripada company tu. Tapi kalau untuk student panel tahun 4, tahun 3 semua ni, saya rasa macam betul lah macam Dr. Faridah tadi kata apa saja perkara yang kita rasa interesting dan kita rasa ada potensi untuk menjawab persoalan ataupun membaiki keadaan sosioekonomi masyarakat kan. Kita buat dah, kita libatkan saja diri. Memang kita tak tahu dia akan berjaya tu pun tak kan. Kalau kita tengok dalam sejarah pun saintis mana-mana pun yang dia jumpa satu invention pun bukanlah invention dia yang pertama kan, sebenarnya yang buatkan dia terkenal. So research ni sebenarnya memang akan ada kegagalan, akan ada trial and error kan. Tapi dia intention, macam kita ingat awal tadi, intention kenapa kita nak terlibat dengan research ni kan. Dan insyaAllah kita doa je kan, doa kan, kalau intention kita betul, Allah akan mudahkan usaha kita insyaAllah.
Ya betul. Saya rasa macam tak dapat result yang kita nak tu pun sebenarnya adalah satu result sebenarnya. Macam itulah kan.
Ya betul.
Whatever your findings are, that's actually a result. So insyaAllah jangan sedih-sedih ya para pelajar. Tiba-tiba okey.
Betul. So yang penting kita insyaAllah kalau niat kita tu memang untuk membantu masyarakat kan, dengan ikhlas kerana Allah tu, insyaAllah dah dapat pahala dah kat situ kan. Walaupun mungkin kita gagal nak dalam research kita tu untuk dapat apa yang kita nak capai lah dari segi objektif kan, ataupun hipotesis. Okay, so don't give up lah insyaAllah. Okay.
Terima kasih soalan Dr. Norhasnida. Dan saya ni sebab MC saya menyampur lah sikit ni. Saya sokong lah apa Dr. Norhasnida cakap tadi. To make the problem statement authentic, kita betul-betul tahu yang kita nak solve tu adalah real problem. Memang betul cakap Norhasnida, kita kena engage dengan industri. Sebagai akademik, student boleh learn from now. Apa bottleneck industri? Macam kes saya pun macam pelaku sendiri, alhamdulillah Allah banyak tolong bagi rahmat kat saya. Saya pun alhamdulillah jumpa rakan industri yang sangat supportif. Mungkin mereka hadir hari ini mengikrar PLT, pengeluar terbesar penduduk di Selangor. Kalau bukan kerana bimbingan Ikra, bukan bantuan dia pun, saya pun tak venture jauh macam saya kalau compare dengan Dr. Hasnida amatur lagi lah, junior lagi lah. Dr. Hasnida dah jauh ke depan kan. Tapi kita tahu masalah pasal penyejatan tu daripada industri. Itu antara bottleneck industri, antara masalah yang dihadapi oleh usahawan kecil. Kuantiti air yang tinggi dalam air. Macam mana kuantiti air yang tinggi dalam air? Macam mana nak solve problem tu? Okay, jadi student a good research, you must identify a good problem yang nak solve dan align lah dengan apa yang tadi Dr. Norhasnida explain tu. Masalah yang kita nak selesai ni boleh bantu lineage ke, boleh bantu protection of birth ke, which generation ya.
Tapi research ni itulah saya nak add lagi, memang kena banyak membaca lah sebenarnya kan. So kena banyak baca. Okay, tak boleh kita memang tak boleh harapkan jadi mungkin daripada baca yang sedikit lah sebenarnya untuk kita solve the problem yang kita nak tu kan. Memang kena banyak daripada textbook, daripada journal kan, daripada juga conferences yang kita pergi, semua tu insyaAllah akan bagi kita bukan sahaja pengalaman kan, tapi juga pengetahuan yang diperlukan lah insyaAllah. Okay.
Kita dah hampir di 12 subuh hari ni, hari Jumaat. Muslimin kita nak solat hari ni. Ada lagi soalan?
Ya betul.
Ada lagi ke soalan?
Satu soalan.
Silakan.
Berapakah kuantiti madu untuk jadikan ubat untuk sakit diabetes ni?
Okey. Terima kasih Encik Mazrul. Sebenarnya dalam saya punya penerbitan saya tak tulis itu sebagai ubat lah sebenarnya kan. Kita tulis sebagai penghalang daripada diabetes. Berbanding dengan kalau kita makan gula biasa, gula tebu tu yang dibuat daripada tebu tu. Okey, sebabkan oleh dia tadi dia tak menaikkan glukosa dalam darah tu dengan tinggi. Jadi kita punya kita kat situ saya cuma nyatakan yang dia boleh menghalang lah daripada mengidap penyakit diabetes. Tetapi untuk treatment ataupun ubat tu, yang tu kita masih perlu buktikanlah dengan sebenarnya kajian yang lebih mendalam. Sebab sekarang ni tak banyak kajian lagi, cuma ada beberapa lah, tapi sebenarnya tak cukup untuk buktikan yang sebenarnya madu ni, kelulut ni dia boleh mengubat penyakit diabetes. Tapi ada potensi lah, insyaAllah memang ada potensi. Tapi memang kita masih perlu buktikan dengan kajian yang betul-betul mendalam lah. Sebab kita tak boleh nak terus daripada 1, 2, 3 kajian kita cakap oh boleh ubat diabetes sebab dia akan menyebabkan salah faham lah kan. Dan kita nak betul-betul yakin dulu baru kita boleh beritahu dengan orang ramai sebenarnya.
Jadi saya sebenarnya saya ada ibu ada diabetes. Saya bagilah satu hari satu sudu madu kelulut ni. Biasanya dia punya biasanya dia punya gula dia 11, 10. And then lepas tu 2 minggu lepas tu dia jadi 16 pergi ke hospital. Jadi saya terus berhenti bagi dia madu kelulut. And then minggu depan kena pergi hospital lagi, tiba jadi 8 pula. Jadi rendah sangat. Jadi macam ada kesan jugalah untuk madu tu. Tapi kena kuantiti tu, nak tahu kuantiti berapa banyak yang dia orang kena makan.
Itulah. So semua benda tu kita kena buat kajian sebab dia bukan sahaja kuantiti sebenarnya. Jenis nektar yang lebah tu ambil mungkin ada efek, berapa lama dia simpan, berapa banyak dia punya asid kat dalam tu, berapa banyak asid organik yang ada dalam tu. Sebab ada banyak lagi kandungan-kandungan lain dalam madu tu yang kita kena tengok apa yang ada, apa yang tak ada. Lepas tu kita kena test dekat binatang, kita kena test dekat sel, kita kena test kat manusia. Lepas tu baru kita boleh nampak dia punya big picture dia. Kita boleh nampak oh sebenarnya benda ni yang sebabkan dia boleh mengubat penyakit diabetes. Jadi ni sebenarnya memang kena sebenarnya tak perlu lama tapi sebab kita punya bajet untuk buat research sebenarnya tak banyak. Jadi itu pun salah satu faktor lah yang sebabkan kajian ni jadi lambat. Itulah jadi saya tak tahulah macam mana. Jadi memang macam itulah nature research ni kan. Jadi dalam keadaan kita bajet yang kita ada lah di negara kita ni sekarang kan. Jadi saya cubalah memang antara salah satu saya punya matlamat kajian tu lah sebenarnya. Nak tengok sebenarnya apa dia komponen dalam madu tu, kuantiti kan, cara kita simpan, berapa lama kita simpan tu, yang mana sebenarnya yang paling baik kan untuk menghasilkan bahan yang boleh merawat penyakit diabetes.
Okey doktor, saya nak tambah lah doktor. Saya pusam again doktor, minta maaf. Boleh doktor saya tambah?
Ya.
Okey doktor, kalau tengok pada properties kalau tengok pada metabolite test menggunakan nuclear magnetic resonance mungkin doktor pergi lihat kepada isoleucine dengan leucine di mana dia boleh regulate blood sugar lah.
Okey.
Dua properties ni yang saya
amino acid.
Amino acid. Yang ini saya rasa dia memainkan peranan yang penting jugalah. Tapi itulah. Kita cuma boleh buat trial macam ni lah. Kepada buyers kan yang mana ada diabetik semua, although yang dah makan ubat constant, jadi sekarang dah throw away dia punya medicine lah untuk ubat diabetik tu. Jadi yang pada pandangan saya lah, dua properties tu yang memainkan peranan lah. Mungkin ada juga properties lain.
Okey. Dia sebenarnya ada banyak properties lain lah.
Dia banyak, bukan satu.
Betul. Sebab tu
lagi satu doktor saya nak tambah sini, yang bagusnya doktor, madu kelulut ni dia boleh menyembuhkan organ doktor. Itu yang saya rasa satu-satu yang luar biasa lah dekat madu kelulut ni.
Ini menyembuhkan pankreas tu.
Organ dan tisu.
Okey, itu yang untuk kalau kita kata dia boleh treat diabetes tu, dia memang kena sembuhkan itulah yang pankreas tu yang untuk yang boleh menghasilkan insulin kan, sebab orang diabetes ni dia tak menghasilkan insulin dengan banyak. Jadi sebab tu dia perlu tambah insulin. Salah satu sebab lah kenapa dia dapat diabetes. Jadi memang ada sepatutnya ada komponen dalam madu tu yang boleh membaiki balik sel islet Langerhans kita panggil kat dalam pankreas tu untuk dia menghasilkan insulin lah. Okey, insya-Allah.
Okey, saya
Ada lagi ke?
Okay, menarik banyak ada feedback daripada penternak kelulut hari ni.
Alhamdulillah.
Student tak ada soalan pun. Senyap je semua.
Student senyap sunyi. Tak ada kau seorang wakil student nak cakap apa-apa?
Okey doktor, saya nak tanya satu soalan kan. Kalau kita tengok madu yang doktor sebutkan boleh tanya kalau tak ada orang tanya saya tanya lah. Okey, kalau kita rasa madu tu manis, nak betulkan lah andaian saya kita tengok dia ada fruktos, glukos, sucramatos, betul?
Trehalulose.
Trehalulose lah yang tu. Okey, kalau yang tu saya boleh guna bermakna trehalulose tu boleh guna term tu?
Memang bahasa Melayu dia trehalulosa lah.
I see. Okey, jadi saya kalau yang masam tu pula doktor, kita melalui test yang kita buat, dia ada asetate lactate etanol sebenarnya.
Ya. Asid organik.
Asid organik. Lepas tu yang tengah dia tu, bila kita bergantung kepada, ini kita punya pengalaman lah, yang tengah tu sebenarnya bergantung kepada kelulut tu punya dama ataupun getah dia ambil.
Ya.
And taste tu adalah disebabkan oleh bunga doktor.
Dia punya apa?
Aftertaste.
Ya. Nektar dia sebab dalam nektar tu dia ada jenis gula dia berlainan.
I see.
Jadi antara kajian saya sekarang ni memang kita pergi cari bunga. Kita pergi dengan student kan, pergi panjat pokok pun ada juga cari bunga. So kita nak tengok, kita kaji kandungan gula dalam nektar dia. Kalau ada
doktor, cuma okey, sorry doktor, maaf ganggu maaf nikap. Doktor tengok juga jangan sahaja kepada nektar pasal kelulut dia tak ambil pada nektar, dia pada bunga juga, dia ambil pada putik daun.
Okey ya.
Yang itu doktor. Itu
cuma
doktor.
Itulah kita sebab itulah kan kita pun terhad lah, maksudnya yang ada dekat lalang dekat keliling UPM ni. Kita boleh dapat yang itulah kita, kalau ada yang memang sampel yang penternak nak hantar, maksudnya putih ke ataupun mana-manalah sumber nektar ataupun selain daripada nektar yang nak kaji kandungan gula dia, boleh hantar ke UPM lah, nanti kita boleh buat analisis tu lah.
Doktor, saya pasal nak masuk Facebook, saya tak ada Facebook. Jadi kalau tak boleh Dr. Nabila WhatsApp saya ke 0, saya punya nombor 018.
Okey, Dr. Adiba ambil
Dr. Adiba, Nabila pula, sorry. Saya baru jumpa Dr. Nabila ni, aduh. Okey, Dr. Adiba 018 20 01820361181.
Encik, nama penuh Saiful Sam
Hasan.
Saiful
SAIFFULSAM Hasan double S.
0182036181.
Betul doktor.
Okey.
Tapi tak salah saya, dekat ladang UPM ada penternak tau, di mana dia dalam grup-grup kita orang juga. Dia buat dekat dalam hutan.
Okey.
Ladang mana saya tak pasti. Successful juga. Pasal ini grup-grup kita jugalah.
Okey, saya tak ada kok di kalangan previous student lah tu. Sebelum previous student kat situ. So kita ada ramai juga student yang buat master ke PhD, lepas tu dia buat bisnes dia sendiri.
I see. Okey doktor, saya ada urusan sikit, minta maaf Sebenarnya saya berminat sangatlah trehalulose ni kan, untuk mentambahkan pengetahuan je lah. Okey, terima kasih doktor. Assalamualaikum.
Okey, terima kasih.
Terima kasih sudi join webinar kita hari ini. Good discussion ni Dr. Norhasnida. Saya rasa kita dapat good feedback daripada kumpulan penternak kelulut ni. Kalau tak ada apa-apa soalan dah, saya rasa cukuplah sampai sini, dah pukul 12.30. Saya mewakili UIA, Universiti Islam Antarabangsa, ucapkan banyak terima kasih atas kesudian Dr Norhasnida berkongsi pengalaman dan ilmu bersama kita, dan terima kasih banyak-banyak kepada student yang hadir, pensyarah-pensyarah, penternak-penternak, wakil industri yang hadir bersama kita hari ini. Jadi kita soalan Dr Norhasnida, ada yang bertanya, mereka boleh dapatkan slide ke?
Oh, okey, nanti saya hantar kepada Dr. Adibah lah.
Okey. Jadi
dia dapatkan daripada Dr. Adibah.
Saya akan share dengan student, tapi kalau not in the circle of student yang nak slide tu, yang daripada industri atau peserta pada luar, boleh contact saya lah. Contact saya akan share. Terima kasih Dr. Norhasnida sekali lagi. Jadi kita tutup majlis kita hari ini dengan tasbih kafarah dan surah Al-As.
It's pukul 12.30.
Okey, terima kasih.
Okey, Assalamualaikum.
Salam, jumpa lagi. Jumpa lagi Dr. Norhasnida.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okey.
Thank you, Doktor.
Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum, thank you, Doktor.
Okey.